So today we're going to take a look at the greatest Skye Ult of all time, and we're going to take a look at the game Team Liquid versus Shopify Rebellion, and we're going to just take a look at the last 4 rounds because this was the start of it all. It's 12-10 to Shopify Rebellion. They are 1-0 up in maps, and everything seems to be going pretty well. They just need to win one more round on their map choice, and they will go through to the last 3 at the very least, finishing top 3. But the greatest Skye of all time happened to them, as you will see in this round. So let's start it off here. And Team Liquid are on the attacking side, Shopify Rebellion are on the defensive side. And it's going to start off pretty slow. They're going to wait for this Skye Flash to come down here. Actually, SR, show some aggression perhaps down here with a Brim Smoke in there as well. And they have the Chamber Trap down here on long as well. And so you can see it's a pretty heavy B focus here from Shopify. But what's going to happen here is there's a Brim Molly here just down on the floor. You can see it just here. And they're waiting to go for a Fatal as well. You might just see the Fade tucked in the corner there. And in comes that Fatal. And actually does hit all 3 players, as we can see just here. Little flash comes in to try and stop it. And, well, you get... And this happens a couple times, and this happens in pro games a couple times as well, where beneath there, you just see it, like, it's still holding, right? It's still there. But our chamber, a Flowerful, has decided to TP away. And sometimes this can happen, where you've got like a second player by that chamber. One thinks that they're going to stay and fight it. Oh, we're a pair. And the chamber thinks, well, I can just get out of this. Don't worry about it. And so you're left kind of just on your own. And that's exactly what happens here to Benita, as you'll see, because Benita then gets caught out as Team Liquid just burst through that smoke. And obviously they can't hear the footsteps of them coming through and whatnot. And then we get a double TP as well from Shopify. So, a pretty aggressive round in general. They had this heavy B setup that now they've been pushed off. And now a double TP as well. A part of me thought that they might go back to A here, Team Liquid. But what's going to happen is you see we've got Nexta here on Viper just, sitting behind this box, waiting for them. In comes the stun from the breach. They start to come in, well, what's going to happen is Nexty's going to manage to get one, but Sonder on the Raze is able to escape and then come back and get the kill. Then pops the ult, and you're like, oh no. But then Daiki is hiding in this corner. We actually end up in a 1v4 as they get the kill. They don't know where Flowerful is. Now they do, right? As 2 people are actually hunting to get back, into CT, looking for that kill. Didn't realize that Flowerful had snuck in onto the site, and now the spike is down as well. So there's 26 seconds left, right? The time is coming low, and Team Liquid, it kind of looked like they didn't know really what to do. The time's running low. You see that these 2 players kind of want to go together, but then they don't know where Flowerful is. Flowerful kind of manages to find the perfect timing to sneak away from the rest of the team, manages to find Daiki and gets that kill. They need to plant the spike as well. Just about managed to get the spike down. That gives the Skye the ult, and then the Skye pops the ult but dies, but then it looks like, oh my god, Flowerful's going to win the 1v4, but guess what happens? The Cabbage takes the bullets for Bastard, and yeah, that was that. That's how it ended. With the Skye Ult, get down, Mr. President, saving Team Liquid, the greatest Skye Ult of all time, and literally won them this round. Flowerful actually ran out of bullets, I think, there, and had to reload. One of the craziest round endings you will see. Let's just watch Shopify's coach's reaction, because it's pretty funny as well. Here is their coach, intently, thinks they've won. No, unfortunately not. You can see the margins are pretty close. And now let's come to the very next round, round 24. Of course, SR still have a chance to win the game. And what's going to happen here is Team Liquid are basically just going to do the same thing. Now, this time, SR are going to rotate this breach across and have 3 people on the A side with the trap here on A as well. And so they go for a kind of heavy A setup. And so these players on B, they're playing a bit more passive. We've got a jump peek here from the Skye and the Brim, just watching a passive angle from elbow here. And you see, though, that Team Liquid, they're basically just going to do what they did last time and come into this B site. They got the little Astra recall start here for when they start to come in towards Hooker as well. In goes the Prowler down there. There goes the Astra smoke just in here. And now they start to come into the site. So obviously this is actually their smoke that's kind of concealing how many people are there. The Raze blast packs in, but as you see, is picked out of the Skye by Laurie there on the Skye. And, they're in a 5v4. Now this is perfect for SR now, right? Retaking this B site is pretty hard, but, you managed to get that first kill. The problem is, though, unfortunately for them, Team Liquid have a Viper's Pit, and so obviously that's going to make it a lot harder, but I love this decision by Team Liquid here, right? We're in a 4v5. Sure, we are, that we have the site, and they're going to have to retake this B site with a Viper's Pit. That's not going to be easy for them. But we still want to even up the numbers. So they send in this Skydog, and look, you've got 2 people ready to push with it as well. Really, really good decision, and they get rewarded for that because Laurie's not ready for it, and they manage to get that kill back. And now it's a 4v4 with the Viper's Pit on the B side. Really nice try by SR with the stun into the Brim Ult. Almost gets 2 kills, but not quite. Then I think the panic starts to set in a bit as Sonder is trying to push with that Brim Ult. But again, it just is slightly off, and so, you run into a player instead and die, and then, at this point now, you are retaking this B site with a Viper's Pit. Pretty much good luck at this point. And ultimately, Team Liquid managed to, get it back to 12-12, and we'll go to overtime. And so now we're in overtime, round 25, and so now SR are back on the attacking side. Team Liquid are now defending, and we're going to see some mistakes here by SR, I think, that maybe we're a little uncharacteristic. One thing in particular we're going to see here is you're going to see Sonder here just walk up towards Hooker on her own. She sent in the normal boom bot that you get just there. But, she's then going to send in a nade towards Hooker as well. And then just go, like, kind of, exploring on her own, thinking that it's all clear and hoping to, kind of just win that fight. But it's a very, very nice shot from Liquid, and they managed to make it a 5v4. But now I think, you're going to see, a comp thing, SR aren't playing with a Viper here, and you're going to see that's going to cost them pretty big time, as you'll see. But the second thing is as well, just like the decision, this was an ambitious round. Let's put it that way. Right, they're going to send in this breach aftershock just here and try and clear this out, and they're going to come towards short, and they're going to try and get him. The thing is, though, they aren't playing with a Viper, right? And you see Viper all the time, and the reason is because it just makes, taking this area so easy with this setup, right? It just makes walking down here very, very possible and very easy, and you get very deep into the site. But I want you to just take a look at where they just put those smokes, right? A deep heaven smoke, a deep smoke here on A as well. Without a Viper and your Raze is also dead, this wasn't possible. This just simply wasn't possible. And what you're going to see is, you've got the Skye and the Viper here. These two are just going to go, this is a shooting range at this point because, there's just these two angles are difficult to deal with for these attackers. And they're going to just get absolutely destroyed, as you will see here on the map. Like, we're going to get these fights and one by one, they're just going to go down here. There you go. They just slowly get destroyed until eventually we're in a 5v1. And, yeah. That wasn't ever really going to go pretty well for SR because they just, without that Viper, coming down short like that is a lot harder. Especially if you go for those very, very deep smokes. It was just far too ambitious. Your duelist is dead. You can't get deep into the site anyway, with a raised blastback or whatnot. And then also you don't have that Viper. This was a bit ambitious, I'll say the least, from SR. But then they came back in the next round and they responded very well to start with this really, really cool idea of pushing 3 people down here, down short, going together, and, they're going to find this first kill from doing just that, right, where you're going to see they managed to peek around that corner, Sonder finds that kill, and away we go, right, and then I like the way that, they react, they stun, they know that there's a weakness here in Shower, and we're going to see a big trade of utility here in Shower as well. And SR actually going to manage to find the next kill with some good utility. As you will see, the nade comes in there. That starts doing damage. And then the aftershock with the nade. So these guys, they kind of are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You see the nade is here. The aftershock is coming in here as well. There's only space for one person. And they get a kill from it. And now we're in a 5v3. And look, if there's one legacy from my channel that I really want to preach to everyone, literally everyone in Valorant, because this still happens a lot in Valorant, and it shouldn't, is you're up 2 players. Play safe. Just play safe. You should never, and I mean never, take a 1v1 fight when you're up 2 players. There's no need to, right? You just don't need to. So you've got Sonder holding this angle here, but the idea in your mind at this point should always be, I'm not going to commit to a fight unless I've got a teammate who's coming with me, right? Either we're going as a team, or I'm not taking that fight. Because, I mean, if you look at the situation here, Sonder's holding this angle. There is 2 players here from Team Liquid. And this is the point, right? You don't fight on your own when you're in a 5v3. Because what if there are 2 or 3 players there and you're just in a 2v1, right? Well, now you're not favored to win that fight, but you're in a 5v3. So there's no need to take that fight, right? So it's just the mentality, because you see a lot of rounds still at the very highest levels of Valorant being lost like this. A lot of 5v3s, 4v2s, they do get lost. A lot of them, even at, the very best teams in the world, lose their fair share of 5v3s. And it's this mentality of just thinking, I will win every fight. You're not going to. And in 5v3s, you just got to reset that mentality and think, that's not the case. You see that Sonder dies just there. Now we're in a 4v3. Now it becomes, quite a bit harder. you know, and now what you're going to see as well is, again, they're going to manage to use some good utility here on KP, and KP's going to end up in a struggle, right? And so your idea, whenever you're up, particularly two players, right? One player, it could be a bit, you know, it depends on the situation maybe at times, but definitely two players, you'd never want to take a 1v fight, right? So KP here is in an angle again where you're isolated, right? And what's going to happen is KP is going to die there to that kill. Laurie does manage to come around that corner and trade, but then it's a good trade back from Team Liquid. Now we're in a 2v2, right? And now it's like, now Benita is on her own on this site, tries to take that fight to, you know, get it back to a winnable situation. Now you're in a 2v1, right? We've gone from a 5v3 to a 2v1 against, because, you know, we wanted to commit to fights. And I always think this is what happens, right? You end up in a 5v3, one person makes a mistake, it leads to other people then wanting to make up for that mistake, and you end up losing the round like this. You know, good swing by Team Liquid there at the end, both of them swinging together. They managed to win the game off the back of the greatest Skye Ult of all time.